Okay. Oh, I'm on the wrong camera. Hold on. Okay, yeah, I have a duck camera this time. I'm trying something new, so stick with me. So, hello, welcome to another live stream. A day late, a dollar short, so to speak. My name is Cade. This is Retainer Designer, and this is my Usual Mod Friday live stream. So, thank you for tuning in this Saturday. And today is just I'm doing a little bit of work, and I thought I'd talk to you guys and gals out there while I'm working. Thought that we could have some fun there. But anyway, let me know where you're from, and I'm kind of set up here. I think I'm all set up. Hopefully, let me know if you can hear me or not. I should be able to hear myself. All right, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. All right, so this might echo a little bit. Okay, I hear myself, so that's good. I hear myself. That's a bonus. But I do have my camera angles here. I have this camera angle, and I have duck cam, which is right here. Oh, there they are. Those ducks. I got this out in the field out there, and you can see the babies. If y'all remember my live stream from a few weeks ago, you can see those guys out there. They're in the back. They're actually bigger. So these are call ducks that you see in the front. They're pretty cute. They're just small, tiny little ducks, and these look like mallards. They're called grays, but they look like mallards. So yeah, that one right there in front of us, his name's Pato, which is Spanish for duck. So we're pretty I don't know, fancy with our names here. Anyway, so let me switch this over back to me. I can leave that here. Let's do this. Yeah, I have a little duck camera. It's actually working. I'm surprised. I'm actually using my LTE connection on my phone out there. But yeah, I'm gonna switch over to here, and let's get started. So today we're just doing some basic retainers, and I'm just trying to catch up. So those who don't know, I am helping put on a OrthoLab show in 1 week. I can't believe it. This time next week we'll be at the live show. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do as far as a live stream on Friday. Be sure and subscribe, click the notification bell, because I could go live at any point. So I'm live streaming 3 rooms at once. One's an ortho room, one's like a denture room, one's crown and bridge for dental lab stuff. So if you're interested, I do have a thing here you can look at. Let's see. Do I have it? It's right here. Okay. This is where I'm going to be next week at the 2023 ORG Southwest Conference and Expo. There is the bit.ly link down there if you want to register. It is going to be live streamed. At least half the ORG classes are going to be live streamed. So sign up. I'd love to see you there. If not, I don't know how much I'll be live streaming this next week. So we'll see. So again, subscribe, click the notification bell, because hopefully I'll be live streaming. I might just do little quick live streams here or there, so you can see what an OrthoLab looks like, OrthoLab conference looks like, because I think we're the only one in the country, if not the world, or a specific OrthoLab, just covering this and running an OrthoLab and owning an OrthoLab, and so that's what we're doing right there. All right, so we got some comments. Hello, Luciano, always my loyalist here. Thank you for tuning in. Write your Instagram here. Yes, I can do that. My Instagram is at I think that's it. If I can find my phone, I'll confirm it to you. But I think this is my Instagram. Here, it's just my lab. You can type that in. I'm going to check it real quick, make sure that I typed it right. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's it. Tippett OrthoLab. That's it. So you can find me there. That is my I got retainers on the 29th of March. It was the 14th, but I had to get rescheduled. Hopefully that wasn't my fault, because I've had to reschedule a few times delivering the retainer. Sometimes it is the lab's fault. And the labs let the doctors be, the labs, you know, that how do I say this? We're the fall guy sometimes for the doctor's offices. So I hope you enjoy your retainers. You're actually going to get me making one right now. Actually, I'm going to look nope, this isn't your name. So this isn't yours. Oh, you're welcome. I will get glow in the dark orange. Orange is my favorite color. If you look back here, this is my glow in the dark orange, luminary orange tinted polymer. So if I had blinds on all the windows, I could turn off the lights and this would actually glow, which is pretty cool. No, not yours. Okay, all right. Make sure you wear your retainers. And we have a luminary blaze yellow, which is kind of a pale mixture between the yellow and the orange. But you can see that's a small bottle. It's not as popular anyway. So. Oh, there's the ducks. Let's switch this around. Probably better watching them anyway. So yes, we have a duck cam this time. Oh, they all left. Oh, there goes one. That was a pretty good picture this time. I think that's Smoliv following behind Pato there. So they're just waddling around. Now in the very, very back, let's see if I can go full screen here. If I go on the very back, you can see, I'm hovering it with my mouse, but you can't see that. Back there, upper right corner, that are the gray babies, the ones that we saw in the pen just a few weeks ago. They grow so fast. But yeah, so we've had a lot of rain lately, and so we have this little creek that flows with water when it rains, and the ducks love it, and they just get out there and forage and stuff. So that's what we get to do. Go by Kelson Orthodontics in Boise, Meriden. Oh, okay. Boise, Idaho? Is that? I don't know what Meriden is, but if that's the town name, that's pretty cool. What state are you in or country? Let me know. Yeah, I don't work for very many doctors. I'm a small lab, just me and my wife. So anyway, you have to let me know how good they are, your retainers. And then I'll teach you some clasp here. This one is actually going to be undercut wires. Let me double check. Make sure I'm working at the right. Yep. Oh, this is a lilac pearl. I have to sprinkle that one. All right. So these are going to have undercut wires. So this, I'm going to put my labial bow here, along here, right here. I'm going to go here, here. And these are just 025 wire, and they're going to go into this embrasure. So I'm actually going to take a little burr here. I call this a cutting burr. And I'm just going to just slightly relieve some of the gum tissue in between the models. And yes, this is a plaster model. I'm not doing digital today, which is one of the doctors I used to do digital all the time. She now does a mixture. She sometimes does plaster. I think she's just trying to save some money. You know, the times we're in. And I totally understand. I wish I'd give her a discount, but you know, printing models is not fun. I just spent almost $400 on resin just for printing models, and hopefully I can get 300 to 400 models out of them. But you know, that's where all that money goes. Boise, Idaho. Okay, cool. Yeah, I've never been to Idaho myself, but that's cool. I will get, yeah, glow in the dark orange. I almost read that wrong where it says glow in the dark, dark orange, which I thought would be neat. But let's, okay, so I'm not done prepping this one by doing. Then take a little pink wax here, my little waxing instrument. and there was a little gap between the teeth there. And actually, you know, that's one of the things I need to work on, is reading the prescription. So let me grab this prescription real quick. Okay, just making sure. Sometimes when I see a gap, I'll read the instructions and see if they tell me, hey, you know, put some springs on there to close that gap up. So, okay. And good news is I do have a new audio, so hopefully the audio is better this time. It is. I saved up some money and bought these, and that's why hopefully the audio is better for y'all. All right, so I'm using a little bit of separator. This is my JBC Pink Best Ever separator. It's really good for these plaster models. I'm going to put it on my Lucky model holder. Many of you asked where I got my model holder from. It's Great Lakes Orthodontics. So if you Google Great Lakes Orthodontics, I don't think they make this model holder anymore. Unfortunately, they do have another version where it's a solid piece right here, and it's spring loaded. It's not screw bound. Okay, so for my wire, let's see if I can get a picture-in-picture going on here. Okay, edit. Let's go upper right corner. All right, so hopefully you see me there. I don't see any action on the duct cam, so we'll check on them in a little bit. So this is 030 wire, and I'm going to cut this. And this is how I bend mine. Some people use turrets, but I tend to just use my hands. And I've just trained myself. Turrets are good, but I've just trained myself. And what I'm doing is I'm pushing the ends together and then rolling it back and forth. I'm going to turn up the lights just a bit. Camera looks a little dim. So then I'm going to mark this here. And let's bend here. Put it on my loop forming pliers, and I've obviously broken the tip off. And so I did that to myself. You're not supposed to use it on big wires, and I must have been trying to use it on the big wires. I did it on my other favorite loop forming pliers. So there's another tip here that I broke off on the end of this. So these have a nice broad loop that I like, and you can always adjust them, make them smaller. So I'm just going to adapt this around here. So yeah, some of the classes I'm excited about actually won't be live streamed, but like there's one from, if you've ever heard of NeoLab, New England Orthodontic Lab, we have the CEO, Christian Sauerman. He's actually going to be speaking at a conference talking about how his lab grew from 1 to 100 technicians. Can you imagine an ortho lab with 100 technicians? Just seems crazy. But, you know, I really never wanted to get that big. I'm not good at managing people. So that's just my downfall there. All right. I feel like I need some background music on here. I might turn some on. Y'all can tell me if it gets annoying. Let me get this labial bow done real quick. And that's usually what I try to do sometimes is give myself a goal. All right, get this labial bow bent, get this retainer waxed down, ready for acrylic, and then go on, do what you need to do, and then come back. And it's always a good way of timing yourself. So I'm just adjusting this loop here to fit this embrasure better. So there we go. And mark that with my felt tip marker there. And so I got a little black spot there. This always is a very important bend, starting that crossing over the occlusion, because if you think about it, if you go too high, then your labial bow is too high. If you go further down, you're going to shorten it. So it's also good to know if you do happen to actually accidentally go too high or too short, to unbend it and then go back and rebend it where you need it. Usually it's me not paying attention. I'll mark it, and either I'm not paying attention to what this side's doing while I'm marking this side, and so then it just throws the whole thing off. So now I'm working. There we go. I'm going to dap this down into the pallet with my 3 prongs here. Got my 3 prongs on. All right. Play oldies but goodies. Oh man, I wish I could. Oh, Tiffany. Tiffany, you are not kidding. Did you see my screenshot of all the... That's just 1 day's worth on there. Yeah. Tiffany, I'm trying to sell them to go to the conference. They can even live stream it. So you got to tell them. So Tiffany is the president of the ORG. So it's nice that she's tuned in real quick to say hi. So I'm glad she's here. Yeah. Yeah. Play oldies but goodies. Yeah. Let me see. The worst thing is the copyright issue. So I can't really do anything, but I can do the copyright issue. How are you, sir? Yes, Shazeb. I'm so sorry, Khan. Please, I'm not good with names, but I like to try to say your names. It helps me learn. Shazeb, Shazib, maybe. Okay. All right. Nicole, I didn't see it, but I know you have a lot. Yeah. So the thumbnail to my YouTube. Oh, you're commenting from Facebook. So thumbnail. I'm just like this, looking over all the all the things. Hi, Tiffany. Yep, she's the president of ORG. She's going to be running a lot of the. You'll see her in the live stream if y'all watch if y'all sign up for the ORG. That link that I showed before in that little graphic I had up. If you go to rewind back to that, I'll try to put it in the comments below. You can actually register, and if you're in the Dallas or Texas area, it's a quick drive up to Irving to watch the live stream. I'd love to see all y'all there. Oh, she's saying hello to everybody. Shazib. Oh, Khan. Oh, did you misspell it the first? Oh, it's shortened in your name. Okay, I got it. Shazib Khan. Okay. Punjab Dental Lab. Where are you from? I think you told me this. You have to tell me again. I think I might know. I want to say something, but I don't want to offend if you're in another country. Oh, so I need to do a separate. I usually do 2 layers. What am I doing? You can't even see anything. There we go. Okay. While that dries, I'm going to put some music on. Pakistan. Okay. All right. Oh, I was thinking I remember Pakistan. Okay. Punjab. I like that. Dental Lab. So does that mean you're only ortho or just or full? Do you do everything? I see in your icon, your logo, it's a retainer like mine. So are you straight up ortho or just you do a little bit of everything? All right, so let's put this. I'm going to put this up real quick. Actually, I don't know if I put this up here. I'm from Pakistan. Yes, from Pakistan. All right, so I am working on here. So I'm going to put that up. So that's the conference that Tiffany and I will be at. And again, you can live stream it You register and you can come in person or live stream, whichever one you like. I'm going to turn this volume down. So just let me know if this gets a little out of hand, but sometimes it does get a little crazy. Gets a little loud, so let me know. Okay, let's take this off so you can see. All right, so let's go undercut wires now. So again, I'm going to wax this down. Not again. You didn't see that the first time. So let me wax this down. Looking at this, I'm a little higher. But those of you that own Ortho Labs, been doing it for years, you know when you do the QC at the end, you can slightly adjust it. So at the end, it's a little higher than where I drew the line, but I can actually put my 3 prongs right here on these corners and just rotate that thing down, and it'll straighten that perfectly. So I'm going to use this thin 025 wire, and it's actually going to go in that embrasure, in that area. And the doctor wants me to leave it a little long, and then she gets to cut it to whatever length she needs for the best retention. And so I just bend a little hook, goes in between those, and then I'm just gonna go right here, right alongside this, however y'all want to do y'all's wire tags. So I'm just going ahead and bend that, cut that, close that. And then I'm going to put a little bit of wax right here and then stick this back in there. So once you get it bent, putting in there works. And then when you're QCing it, if it still feels a little loose, a trick I got from the guy I interviewed, Jason Brown, last week, the guy I interviewed, he did a few of these when I had to take a break from the lab for a month. Last year, he took over one of these accounts, this account for me for a little bit, and he helped me. He goes, yeah, you can actually bend these, mesial or distal once it's in the acrylic, and engage one tooth or the other a little bit more, and you'll get a pretty good retention. So this is for, if you don't want occlusal rest, or excuse me, not rest, wires crossing the occlusion. So I'm going to put a little wax, a little dollop of wax right in there. Slide that in and then press it down. Oh, my loop's a little different. Oh. Well, it's lilac pearl, so it'll cover it up. And sometimes I do that. I don't know if y'all do. If it's a clear acrylic, and I don't like, I get a little OCD with my wires. They all got to be the same height and the same size loop and everything. Sometimes if that happens, I'll look at what acrylic they chose, and if it's a dark acrylic, I know they won't see the wire. But if it's like clear, then that's I'll go and make those adjustments. Oh, Shazib, OrthoWork Prosto Crown and Bridge, CC plate, flexible denture implant. You do a little bit of everything. Holy cow! Well, okay, so good for you if you did sign up for the conference. There is 37 hours of live streaming. A lot of those have to do with zirconia, implants, dentures, all sorts of things. So you'd probably watch them all 37 hours of live streaming. There's 46 hours of content at the conference. I'm selling this too hard, but I'm excited about it. Yes, sir. All work my lab. That's awesome. See, you are a true full-service lab. There are many full-service labs here in the States, and they say they're full-service, but there's ortho nowhere to be found. So they say they're full-service, and they're really not, because they don't do a lick of ortho. But you, sir, are full service all the way. That's impressive. And I did go to lab school And I learned all those, but I didn't want to. Dentures were too messy. And you're doing like flex plates and stuff like that. All those flexible denture, and you got to have all that specialized equipment and stuff. So that's cool. All right, so now you can see I can just, once you get that first bend and you just come right out of that embrasure area and you go down and you make that curve, you just go straight down. Of course, a lot of it depends on the, the shape of the roof of the mouth and stuff like that. So that does stick out a little bit. Let's see if I can show that to you. I don't know if you can see it if I rotate it around a bit. Right there. Kind of not too bad, but I'm going to sneak my 3 prongs in here, right here, and just put a little bend, tuck that into the plate a little more. I don't want any surprises when I'm trimming this. So I'm going to cut that bent end off, and I like to round my ends. So if the doctor decides not to cut the end off, it's not going to like cut their gums or anything. So again, these are called undercut wires. And Mr. Boise, where are you at? I don't know what kind of, you'll have to tell me in my next stream after you get your retainers what clasp you got. Just bend that. Bend a U, so that's all I do. So my ortho tags, my wire tags are just a U, and then in these pliers I have these grips, and I just finish folding it over like an eye of a needle. And that helps me to designate my work from somebody else's, because I try to make mine unique from pretty much all the labs in my area. They all do a little bit different work. That Jason Brown that I interviewed last week, his wires, like coming through here, he curves it in, goes down, and then bends it straight back. And then all these would be go down, stroke forward, go down, forward. And so, I used to work for him. That's how I had to bend everything, which is fine. When you work for another lab, do it how the lab owner wants you to. And there's reasons for that. Consistency. The doctor, gets used to seeing what your work looks like. I'm just going to add just a little bit of pink wax. And it's okay if the acrylic doesn't cover these ends. It actually helps the doctor to adjust them a little bit better. I'm going to tuck that in just a little bit. Love this pink wax because you can kind of move your clasp a little bit where you need to go. And this sticky wax here is going to be a little hard to maneuver. Once it solidifies, it's pretty hard, which is good for holding the wires in place while you do the acrylic. This, you just got to be a little careful. All right, so that is done. Let's move on to the next one. Zoom in, please. Perry, there you are. Okay, I can zoom in. Let me get my next model up here. Oh, well, I'm going to have to zoom in on this, that's for sure. Okay, let's see. Can I do this? There we go. Move it up. There we go. How's that, Perry? All right. You, sir, doctor, you technician. I'm a technician, so I'm not a doctor. If that's what you're asking. You, sir, are you? You are doctor? Yeah, technician. Okay. I don't know. But how to answer that. I'm a technician. I'm not a doctor. I work for other doctors. Is this Dentarum wire? No, this is JBC wire that I get from JBC. So she formulates her own. Let me move this. Diamond Finish 032. So this is JBC and Companies. This is where I get all the acrylics that are behind me. She also sells wire, so I get it from there. So it's like Dentarum quality. That's really high and more like Unitech quality. But I do have a little bit of this stuff, mezzaninium. So I had a doctor that wanted low nickel. So this has like less than 0.2% of nickel. So I got some of this. This is shoe, I guess. Or I'm saying that wrong. I know it's, somebody said it different the other day. But I do have some, all the rest of my wire is that JVC wire. So this actually has, I'm going to add a little light here. This has brackets on. They took an impression with brackets on, so joy. So I need to carve that off. So I usually just carve it by hand. If this was a 3D printed model, I would have tried to do it in the computer first. If I couldn't do it through the computer, I would just take a burr and just grind it off. This one, I could do the same thing, but sometimes I feel like just doing it with a knife just gives me a little bit more control. Although sometimes it'll break wrong, and so I do like this little knife. It's got a nice little edge, corner edge to it. So I'm just going to, you know what, while I'm doing this, let's see if I can, I don't see any, oh, they're ducks way in the back there. Yeah, they're just foraging around. So that opening is just right there by the, we have a culvert that goes under the road in front of our house. And so that culvert dumps water into a tiny little pond. And so that is the overflow that they're foraging in. And we had a pretty good rain yesterday. So they're just having a time of their life right now. So I'm just carving off. And carve a little bit of that gum off. That's the worst thing when they take impressions. And I asked the doctor, I said, why don't you take the wire out and I can, be a little more accurate, especially with when they scan them digitally. And she's like, well, I just don't want to mess with untying them, taking the wire out, scanning them. So I'll just, do the best you can. And so she never asked for, acrylic on the labial bow. So we're good there. So I'm just slowly carving these, trying to be as accurate as possible, but she's pretty forgiving because she knows, I can't get too accurate with this. I'm just trying to, just looking at what tooth I do see, and that one looks broken off or chipped or something. I'm just creating the teeth here. So there is bracket removal. Make sure, guys, y'all charge for this because this is just extra time. I could have already been bending wire by now, but you can see it just takes a little bit extra time. So not the best work, but just enough to get, some wire across there. And you could do a little bit more, shave it pretty hard, and then the wire's tight when they go to, but I'm a little scared to do that. I do need to smooth this a little bit. And I always find that, when this happens, when they take a impression with the wire still in, it slices up the alginate, and then it can mess up the impression. Kind of like this. I think something happened here. I don't think that's natural. But since my acrylic's only going to go here, I think we're okay. I'm just picking up. I don't want to pick them up. I'm just picking off all the little bubbles here. So let me clean off my desk. I started this live stream, and as the countdown was going, I was like, oh my gosh, my desk is so dirty. But it kind of goes along with the theme of things. Oh, before I do that, again, I'm going to change my burr out. And I'm going to especially if there's a bubble in that embrasure area. I tend to try to get rid of that. And so, that Jason that I interviewed last week, he did this for a month for me, took over this doctor for me, and got back on the phone with the doctor after my time off, and she was great. She told me, hey, his fit tighter. So I had to go and ask him, what'd you do different? Because I've always been more conservative with my prepping than he was. So it looks like he won that round. So we're good there. So I'm going to take a little pink wax and wax in all the undercuts. Mainly on the rugae area. Especially if I think it's going to make a sharp edge of acrylic. And then I like to put just a little bit around my tube there. My hole I just created. Just so whenever I put the separator on, sometimes when you put the separator on and then you try to put wax on top of the separator, the wax doesn't stick very well. There we go. All right, so let's put some separator. Put 4 or 5 drops on here. That was not 4 or 5 drops. There we go. So again, I'm going to put 2 layers of that on. JBC one wire one piece gift me. Oh, you want me to do a giveaway? I can talk to JBC. I'll see if she wants to do a giveaway of some wires. And I think she does ship overseas. It always takes longer, but I think she does ship overseas. Buffalo Dental Knife. Yes, this is a Buffalo 7R. Get in the camera there. Still not in the camera. Come on. There we go. 7R Buffalo Dental Knife. I mean, you can't go wrong with these. Rosewood handle. I used to love the one where the thing went up in a swoop. I don't know if I have one of those around here close by. But the lab I used to work at, they had just a bunch of these. You can't even see this. What am I doing? So I've enjoyed it. Now, I've actually worn off the tip of that one. Can y'all see? There we go. You can see it. This one I've worn the tip off of. So it's still good. And these are great for taking the retainers off the models. I hear you about the new resin for Formlabs. Prints minutes might go wrong, but I think I heard something. I hear you about that new resin from Formlabs. Prints minutes. I might be wrong, but I think. Okay, so yeah, there's an update. You might have gotten an email from them. Yeah, Formlabs, there's an update like you can print one arch in 10 minutes, which is like unheard of. So I think it's coming out in April, an update to Preform software. So I think that's coming up soon. But yeah, printing this one, when you get plaster models, you can get started immediately. That's the great thing about this is you just can sit down, but you got to get them to your lab. So it tends to work out in the end the same way, where you get the scans faster than you can get the models usually, and so you can get the scan from the patient or the doctor's office to your lab within minutes of them scanning the patient, which is crazy. It's as fast as email now. Whereas the stone models, you'd have to, wait till the UPS dropped by, or you had to go send a driver to go pick it up, or all that jazz. So I know for sure if the doctor was out of town, like they weren't within driving distance, they were I could get the models faster. So if I was, sitting there waiting on them, I could get them printed and probably get them printed before UPS could deliver. So mainly I could get these digital models in faster than I could plaster models if the doctor was one of those doctors that mailed in their cases. So did save, shipping labels at least one direction. And I think I did I did a presentation one year where I actually added up the time, at least for one doctor's office, of, I do have one doctor's office that they print their own. So they have their own Formlabs printer. So I actually have to wait on them to finish printing it and then ship me the printed models. And of course, I didn't design them in Formlabs or EasyRx. The models the way I like them, where they fit my my model holder and I like a lot of model on mine. They tend to send me their they'll print them and then they'll print them in horseshoe and then they'll make an Essex on them and then send me the model, make a retainer on them. I'm like, I can't make a retainer on this horseshoe. So that gets a little frustrating. Sometimes I just give up and just go ahead and make the retainer on a horseshoe model, and it's like the thinnest retainer, skinniest little retainer I ever made. And I'm like, well, if they complain, I can tell them again. Just marked them on. I don't know if any of y'all use a felt tip pen for marking your wires, but if you noticed, I can mark them and then I can wipe it off with a finger. So it doesn't stay on there, it doesn't go underneath the acrylic, but then it gets on your finger. So I got to make sure I get the non-toxic stuff because my fingers will start getting marks on them and stuff. But they wash off pretty easy. I swear I used to tattoo. I'd poke myself on my thumb and I used to tattoo myself because I'd have ink on there. On this, I bent that a little too aggressively. Let me unbend a little bit of that. Tuck this back down. Okay, I'm not paying attention. You caught me monologuing. I'm hearing some ducks. I don't think they're in the... Oh. Maybe they're there. You there? No. Oh, yeah, they're in the back. Those are the babies. Right there. Those are the gray babies. If you can believe it. Yeah, 100% those are the gray babies. Wow. Yeah, they're getting huge. I'm going to mute that mic. Hopefully the wind hasn't been too bad for y'all. Let's go full screen. You don't have to soak the resin models in water to relieve the bubbles. That's true. That is 100% true. You can just drop them right in the water. So that does save some time there. But then you run into the issue of like the acrylic likes to stick to the resin, because the resin, the 3D printed resin and the acrylic you use are very similar in nature. So, yeah, you got benefits of 3D printing and then you got your problems with it. So you had your problems with this. One thing with this is if you drop it, you could break a tooth off, you could break the model. If you drop a 3D printed model, they usually don't break, But then that's the bad thing when you go to try to separate it off, your retainer will break before the model does. But if you try to separate off of this, your model will break before the retainer does. So you're still good. Your retainer's still good. You don't have to fix it, repair it, or redo it. So it's always scary taking off the retainers off the 3D printed models. And I do have a video of, if I haven't seen it, 5 tips for sprinkling on 3D printed models. But Perry, very good question. You do not have to soak them beforehand. And I don't soak these either. So I have a a coffee cup, and maybe I'll sprinkle one of these before we end the live stream, and I'll show you what I do. Actually, let me turn on my pressure pot. Let that start warming up. So yeah, I don't soak these either. I just put them, I have an upside down coffee cup in my pressure pot. And I just let them get the initial set. And then once the acrylics pretty much hardened, the first initial harden, I just dunk them in the water to finish their curing process. And it can bubble all it wants. I don't have to worry about it bubbling through the wet acrylic. So once the acrylic's hard, it can bubble all it wants. And that's, again, I learned that from Jason. So it's good to, work for other labs, and you can take from them, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Everybody's different. That Jason, he spent longer sprinkling than I did, but because he did that, because he sprinkled almost exact, he was very exacting with his sprinkling. Oh, I just realized that. Look at that. Look how bad that is. All right, I got to figure out what's wrong with this. Look at that. That just looks terrible. Now, I could fix this in QC, but that might be a little too much to fix. So let me pull this off. Let me try to get it a little closer. Of course, I could have, when I removed the brackets on here. This one doesn't look bad on this side. But looking over here, yeah, it's... I'm going to start by unbending the part going into the palette. And trying to figure out the easiest bend I can do is probably to flare this out a little bit. There we go. That did a little bit better. I'm going to shorten this a little bit on this side. So I had a blister on my thumb, and I had to actually lance it. I had to do a little surgery on my thumb because it starts swelling up. I had to relieve the pressure, and so now it's all dried out. And of course, using this plaster model, it kind of dries out your hands a little bit. But you see, I got it all where I want it. How's it looking level-wise? That's not bad. Okay. I kind of got it where I want it. I'm going to just snug this up a bit. There we go. All right, I'm happier with that. It's a little bit closer. And I can snug it up just a little bit more when I do the QC. But the important thing for me is where it crosses the occlusion right here, because it's going to go into the acrylic right there. And if it's up high like that, it's going to be up high in the acrylic. There's really no fixing that if it's up high like that. No, I didn't paint it again. Y'all didn't, guys? Gals? Y'all didn't remind me a couple of drops here. I could usually probably get away with just one coat, but JBC recommends 2 coats, so I do 2 coats. So you can see how hard this stuff gets. Does a very good job of holding the wire on, but if you want to ever make any adjustments, you gotta just totally remove the wax. There we go. Let that cool. Put that back on here. We'll do those 4 clasps real quick. And then we'll sprinkle one. And then we'll call it a day. Yeah. Everybody's different and everybody's right. So true. Yeah. So I actually explained this the other day to somebody. I was a lab owner and I went to work for another lab, I had to humble myself because that lab owner trumped me. I was in his lab. And so I had to, you know, work around the way he liked to do things. And, you know, that was important. I knew how to humble myself, but I earned his respect. And then he started coming to me with questions and started working off of some tips I had. And so don't butt heads, you know, work alongside each other when you're working for another lab. But yeah, Perry, you're right. Everybody's different. Everybody's right. It's so true. When I come to America, I will definitely meet you. Yes, that'd be great. We'll have to, you'll have to let me know. If you scroll through the comments, you'll see my Instagram for my lab. You can probably message me there or something like that. Luciano, do you prefer digital models or normal models to work? Oh, okay. Right now, I prefer normal models like these. I can get in there, I can get busy, I can get going. They're a little more forgiving than 3D printed models. But again, they're not as exact as 3D printed models. I mean, you could scan bad, I guess, but there's so much that can go wrong with the alginate impression. It could get, swollen, or it could dry up or something like that. And again, these are more forgiving, but I don't think they're as accurate. If it's done right, it's probably more accurate than a scan. And a scan and a 3D print, depending on what resolution you 3D print on. But overall, I like working on, I grew up on this stuff. So that may change, but I do like overall just working on this. Most ortho labs are set up for plaster models, and they had to change things when they went 3D. Another lab, they actually just hired a person to duplicate their 3D printed models into regular. I just saw a hawk. Nope, maybe not. I gotta check on the babies sometimes. Are they still there? Oh, the camera's gone. I missed the camera. They're gone. The hawks didn't make, but anyway. Yeah, I already did that one. All right, so back to this. Let's do this. So I'm going to use my 025 wire. I'm going to double check. Sometimes I grab, yep, that's 025. I'm going to cut this end off. And I'm going to back out just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So I usually just start with this back one. I don't know why, but I'll go in like 2 millimeters, bend it over a little bit, and then I'll bend this up to get it out of the pallet area, so I can hold it straight and level, go even with this, and then we'll put my pliers on that mark, bend it over, cut it into the letter J, and then take my pliers, bend it over. Again, that's just preference. You can put zigzags in here or whatever you want. So I'm actually going to put some pink wax in there, and then lay that in the pink wax. And then once that dries, that'll hold it. I'll put a little bit more on there when I get to it. Cut this again, round it off. And then I can mark it if I want. So I'm pretty much just going straight out and then straight into the pallet. Just like that. And then I put my mark at the bottom of this and this, so that whenever I bend it like this, it should all line up. Put a little wax in there, hold that down. There we go. All right, other side. So these aren't bad. You you can work these pretty well. Work them. You can make them pretty easily, these undercut wires. And this doctor used to, I mean, not too long ago, maybe a couple years ago, she switched these undercuts from ball clasp. And of course, we all know ball clasp are probably the main staple of ortho wires, ortho labs. There we go. Put a little wax in that little embrasure slot. Oh, that's a good word. Embrasure slot. I like that. And then just push it down. Now, I don't push it all the way into the stone. I like to keep a little space underneath it. And that one is going to be kind of long. There we go. Bend this up. Bend this. So I'm actually putting a little bit more of a curve right here. And you kind of have to do those on those back ones because of this little gum ledge here, especially around the molars. There we go. I keep missing my pin holder. Curl that up. Clip that off. And now we're just going to add just a little bit of acrylic around it. So mainly you're just kind of building a little void. You know, you don't want acrylic to go all the way around that tip you just did, or else, you know, it won't engage under the undercuts that are there. So build a little void, and that way you can actually bend those little, you know, the little tips, you can bend them a little bit with pliers. All right, so we're done with that. That's ready to go. Let's go. Luminary green. All right, so we'll sprinkle one of these. Ooh, I just saw something. It's a little far away from me right here from the stone model, so I'm just going to sneak my little 3 prongs. These are my favorite 3 prongs. They're real tiny. You can bend wires while they're still on there. Y'all hear Pete out there? He's decided to make his presence known. I don't know, but with my new mic, y'all might not be able to pick him up anymore, which is fine. So let me move this camera over behind me, and we'll pour one of these, and then we'll call it a day. Oh, there goes Pete. Y'all probably heard him. Can you zoom in tight on one of the O1 once you have it bent before cover? Oh, okay, sorry, I missed that. I can pull one off real quick, please. Okay, your lab could work on me. Oh, yeah, we could all work on each other. All right, so let me pull one of these. Let's do this one. All right, let me scrape out some of this wax here. So this is one of the 028, 025 wires, the undercut wire. So you see it's just almost a J hook. So you can see, and then what I do is I take it and it just lays in that embrasure area like that. I wonder if I can do this. Oh, I just took a picture. So zoom in a little. How far can I go? Whoa, I can go pretty far. If I can just get it into the shot. There we go. All right. Yay. All right. Here we go. I'll hold that there for a second. And then once you put wax on it, you can actually push this forward or back, you know, if it's in your way. So that is the undercut wires. And like I said, I use 0.25 of an inch. So I don't know what that is gauge wise. For the friends overseas that aren't stuck using the stupid English stuff, we all need to get to gauges and metrics eventually. So I'm going to put a little bit of wax just to cover up the tips. Now I wish I had my duck cam. Oh, wrong place. All right, so I've got a little wax on it now. So you notice I don't even bother scraping off these brackets here on the sides. So hopefully that worked, Perry. Hopefully you got to see what you need to see. But again, they're pretty simple bent wires. All right. So I apologize for this, but I need to move a camera real quick. So hold on for. I need to move this camera real quick, and so I'm going to switch cameras to this. I'm going to leave this here so you can see it better. And I'm going to go set up in the acrylic area. And I think I'm going to go with the lilac pearl for... I haven't done that one. I feel like I've done a green one before, but I don't think I've done a lilac pearl. That's all right. I'm just setting up a camera here over this box, and turn it on. I hear a fan going. Well, I cannot find that, can I? It's backwards. There we go. All right. Let me get the lilac pearl, lavender, lilac. There we go. All right. This is the lilac pearl. PS8. See if there are any comments from. I would like to name Pete Tarzan. That is genius. That is genius. Because yeah, he does sound like Tarzan. You're right. Oh, Pete, you're silly. Yeah, you're right. He. That is so true. Okay, well, I put the 0.25 retention. Yes, so these are called undercut wires. They're 100% for retention. And they just engage in the embrasure area between the two molars and the bicuspid and the molar. So they do move around a little bit, so you got to be careful. So yeah, Luciano, that's it. It's 100% retention. So, all right, y'all know me. I always start with a clear coat on the bottom. Let's zoom in just a bit, and that way I can put my name in there. And so that's just the state of Texas. They require a name in anything that is removable in the patient's mouth. So dentures and removable partial dentures, if there's enough room. They are nice in their law. If there's enough room to that you can fit a name. So if there's not enough room, you don't have to do it. So this is lilac pearl. So it's kind of a, I don't know, glittery, solid color. I'm just using clear acrylic, and then I'm just gonna put a little clear coat over the top. When this one gets done, it's really neat when it's all nice and shiny because that glitter kind of pops. So if you know, can you imagine a little girl that just like loves unicorns and pink and glitter and all that stuff, or boys too, I guess. Any little kid that just loves glittery stuff like this, it almost looks like candy to me. That one's getting a little wet over there. Put a little clear coat on here, especially if I can get it totally covered with enough clear coat so that when I trim it back, there's no glitter poking through the clear coat. If y'all have ever worked on, you know, been a fan of cars and trucks with glitter paint jobs and stuff, you know, you got to have enough clear coat to keep the glitter under the clear coat, because if it starts poking through, you know, it starts looking bad. So I'm going to let this sit just a second. See if you have any other questions. Name this clasp, please. Okay, I call it undercut wire, and the retainer name. This is a Hawley, Hawley, with undercut wires. So this is the picture. Cover the name here. So this is the picture of what it looks like coming through EasyRx. And so you just have the undercut wires and then the labial bow, and that's it. You know, it's a pretty simple retainer. And the undercut wires are just so that there are no wires. A lot of doctors don't like the wires that crossing the occlusion. That's why you have wraparound Hawleys, because nothing crosses the occlusion unless you have support wires, and usually those are really thin to fit in between, you know, the occlusal embrasure area. But these will go up underneath. So I'm going to cut this. With these stone models, going back to your question, I think that was Perry that asked that, or Luciano. Which one do I prefer working on? You don't have to do this step with stone models or plaster models, but I feel like with 3D printed models, this step is a necessity and a curse at the same time. So you need to be able to get your knife up underneath, and if it's just spread out real thin, you can't do it on a 3D printed model, or I found it's harder to get. You got to get a little purchase, a little leverage underneath that acrylic. So this on the plaster model, you don't have to do it, but just to keep things consistent, I do it anyway. But let me show you my pressure pot here. See if I can do this in one go. There's my monomers, colored monomers, and here's my pressure pot. Let me zoom out just a bit. There we go. You see my red refill bucket behind there. Oh, there's one in here, so I can put that in the water. So this is what I do. So I have a coffee cup in here, an old coffee cup, don't use it anymore, and so I got, I don't know, that much water in there, 2 knuckles, I don't know, 4 inches of water, and so then I can drop that in there, and even if it starts bubbling up, I don't have to worry about it because I know that acrylic is hard. So now with this wet acrylic, I'll put it on the coffee cup. So it's kind of a hybrid steam method for those that have learned the steam method, which is there's a grate down, there'd be a shelf here, but you fill up the bottom with water, and then everything just cures on top of the shelf without the water. But you can see the bubbles coming out of that one, but you don't have to worry about the bubbles coming out now because that acrylic's hard, so it's not going to go through the acrylic. This one it would. So it's going to get its initial cure on the cup, and then usually by the time I'm ready to, I'll start on the next one, right? And I'll do the sprinkling. By the time I'm done with that one, this one has done its initial set, and I can put it in the water. The acrylic I use from JBC sets up and does this initial set in about 5 minutes. It's not much. I mean, this is set for 212 degrees Fahrenheit and 22 pounds of pressure. So we'll go back to that one, and don't get sick watching this. Excuse the mess. Again, I still got part 2 of my lab build to do, and I'm hoping after the conference I'll be able to do that. I'm excited to be able to show you what we've been doing in here as far as building out the lab. But that's it. So, retainer name, please. So yeah, sorry. Perry, I wonder if you emboss the patient's name in the palette of the resin model and transfer. I thought of the same thing. Yes, I want to be able to do that. I think that would be I don't know why I haven't pursued that. I'm glad you reminded me. But yeah, I want to emboss it on the palette. And you know, sometimes it's hard to get it to wrap around. I don't know if it's too hard of an extra step, but you probably need to emboss it where it's not sharp right edges, because if you try to take it off, anything that's an undercut, you're going to have a hard time getting it off. And of course, it can't be too deep. But I think if the letters had more of a A-frame shape to them, that it'll come off easier. And you could even like put a little black acrylic and just wipe your finger across it on the other side. And then of course the name would have to be reversed. But yes. I 100% thought of that myself. Yeah. Hi, K. Mohammed here. Nice to see you're still going strong in ortho. Yes, still going strong. I took a year and a half off of doing some videos on my channel, but I'm back. I tried to do every Friday at noon, but this time I had to do Thursday. There was a big rainstorm coming in, and I had to do Saturday. So always subscribe. Make sure that you have that little bell icon. And I'm not saying this just to increase my subscribers, but although if you look here, I am tracking them since I've started in January. 24,359. Beginning of March, 24,535. So I'm kind of marking them to see how it grows this year. So it's my goal to go 50,000 subscribers this year, which is more than double what I have. So, you know, every subscription counts. But what I'm trying to tell you is, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you know when I go live. Especially next week, I don't have a live stream. We are doing our 2-day conference. Let me put that back up here while I talk about it. This is our 2-day conference, Ortho Lab Conference, the biggest Ortho Lab conference probably in the nation. Just ortho specific, and we are live streaming it. So I'll be using my equipment to live stream, but I won't be going to my channel, or otherwise you'll be getting like 20 live streams going on at once, and it'd be too hectic. But make sure you subscribe. I'll try to go live a little bit, maybe show some shorts or reels or something, whatever they're called on YouTube, and then that way you can you'll be able to keep up with that. So if you subscribe and do the notification, you'll get a notification. Hey, Cade's going live at the conference, and you can see, hey, what's going on. So you can kind of get a bird's eye view if you're not going to be there. But you can live stream if you're a CDT. You will get your CDT credits if you pay for the registration following that link, and do that. So anyway, Tarzan here. It says goodbye. I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to keep going on my work. Thank you again for joining. I really enjoyed talking with y'all and having a good time together and joking around. So I will see y'all definitely in 2 weeks. And again, pay attention this weekend. I may sneak some live streams to y'all from the conference if I have the time and if I can get away with it. So especially some interviews with some other lab technicians that I really love hanging out with and looking up to. So I'm going to play my outro. You may want to lower the volumes of your headphones because I cannot fix the volumes of this. Here we go. Oh, wait. See y'all in 2 weeks.